stay this side. In this series, we are going to learn the basics of 3D modeling with Blender. So, let's start. This is the download link for Blender, which I'll be sharing in the description. So, first of all, let's understand the Blender interface. Over here, right over here in the center is the 3D viewport. This right here in the center is the 3D viewport. Next is the toolbar. This over here is the toolbar, from which you can see the different tools you can use for modeling. Now, if this area is, if you can't see the names for the tools, you can just go over here and you can either shrink it or increase it. Next, we have the menu. Over here is the menu. Now, this thing might seem a bit complicated as there are many options over here. So, mainly for the basics, we'll be considering this area right over here, which consists of all the things or all the models you have in the 3D viewport. For example, if I click on the cube, over here I have the cube. The light, this is the light. The camera, and this is the camera. Next, over here, down over here, there are many tools, but while modeling, you can simply just go to this area which will be used in Blender, in which we add materials. Materials in Blender are basically the colors which we use to put on the 3D models. Next, let's navigate the 3D interface. First of all, let's see how to orbit the view. Over here, you can see this circle with a lot of dots and options over here. Just simply click, hold and drag, and you can simply navigate through the 3D interface. Now, if you want to pan view, so now, just if you see this hand option over here, just click, hold and drag around, and you can pan view. Now, if you want to zoom, over here you can see this magnifying glass option. Just click and drag out or in, as simple as that. Now, some shortcut keys are, for example, if you want to orbit, simply just hold down on your middle mouse button and you can orbit like this. If you want to pan view, just hold shift and your middle mouse button to orbit. Now, if you want to zoom in, simply just scroll. Use the scroll button on your mouse to scroll in and out. As simple as that. Next is shape, applying the textures, and shapes, mesh and editing. Before that, we are going to discuss the different tools and the uses of different tools. First of all is the select box tool. So, in the select box tool, if you drag and create a box, so all the objects inside the box will be selected. So, for example, over here in the box was the camera, the cube and the light. So, when I drag, it selected all of these items. For example, if I only create a box or rectangle around the light and the cube, only the light and the cube will be selected. As simple as that. Next is the move tool. This tool is mainly important while modeling, as this tool helps in moving objects as it is named. So if you just click on an object and with the move tool, you will see different arrows. Now, the blue arrow is used to move the object on the Z axis. The red arrow is used to move on the X axis. And the green arrow is used to move on the Y axis. Now, if you want to rotate or if you want to move freely, you can simply select this option to rotate, to move it on the X and Z axis, or this one for the Y and X axis. Also, you can simply press G to rotate or move it freely. Next is the rotate command, which is simply used for rotating on an object. If like as I told you, the red one is the x-axis, y-axis is the green one, and z-axis is the blue one. If you press hold and rotate on the red line, you will be rotating on the x-axis. The green one would be the y-axis, and the blue one would be the z-axis. If you want to rotate freely, just click anywhere and you will be rotating it freely. Or you can use R to rotate it. If you press R on your keyboard, you will be able to rotate it freely. Now, for the move tool, the shortcut, as I told you, would be G. Right? But if you want to rotate it on a particular axis without using the move tool from here and instead use a shortcut. If you want to rotate it, for example, on the y-axis, just press G, you can move it freely, and then Y. It will be aligned to the y-axis and it will only move. If I go up and down also, it will only move on the y-axis. Same for x-axis, G and X. Same for the z-axis, G and Z. As simple as that. Same for the rotate one. The shortcut key is R. For the x-axis, it will be RX. For the z-axis, it will be RZ. And for the y-axis, it will be RY. Now, if you want to rotate it on a particular angle, like for example, you can just see over here, this is given user perspective and some blah blah things over here. Now, if you want to see at what angle you are rotating, you can just select rotate and over here on the object mode, where you can see the object mode, if you just rotate at the top, you will see the angle at which you are rotating. It will be given rot and minus or plus. As simple as that. Also, if you want to rotate, for example, on the 90 degree without using the move tool or a cursor, simply press R for rotate, Y for on the y-axis, and 90 for rotating it on the 90 degrees. Okay, now if I want to rotate it on, for example, 60 degrees on the x-axis, I'll press R and then X for the x-axis, and then 60 to rotate it 60 degrees on the x-axis. Next tool is the scale tool. Now, as scale tool is used for scaling the object. Like if I want to scale it on the z-axis, I'll just drag it like this on the y-axis and on the x-axis. Now if I want to scale it freely, I can just either hold over here or over here. Now one shortcut for scaling is you just press S for free scale and SY for scaling it on the y-axis. Also SX for the x-axis, SZ for the z-axis. As simple as that. Now, at last is the transform tool. This tool is the combination of these three tools, the move, rotate and scale tool. Over here, you can see all the tools in one single tool. It is like all in one. So for moving, it can be used. For rotating, it can be used. And for scaling, it can be used. So this is an all-in-one tool. Next, there are many more tools to it if you go in the edit mode. The shortcut for going in the edit mode is either you go over here at the top, you see this object mode, you come here and you press edit mode. You simply go in the edit mode. Either you can just press tab on your keyboard and you will be in the object from the object mode to the edit mode, or from the edit mode to the object mode if you press tab again. Now we discussed these 4 tools plus the select box tool. Next we'll be discussing some more tools like the extrude region tool. Now there are some options over here just beside to the edit mode option. These 3 are, first of all, is the vertex select. If I'm on this mode, I can select the vertices of this object. Next is the edge select. If I come over here, I can select the edges of an object. Next is the face select. If I come here and select, I can select individual faces. Now the edit mode is used for editing and modeling. Now for example, if I want to create a building, what will I do? So let's discuss some tools for that. First is the extrude region tool. For example, if with this tool I select a face and I just do this, I can extend this, but this is not scaling. Okay, keep in mind scaling is a different thing. Scale is when you just increase the size of an single object. Extruding is when you extrude a single face or an edge or a vertex like this. Next is the insert face command. I'll go into the face select. Also for these 3 there is a shortcut. If you press 1 on your keyboard, you will be in the vertex select, 2 for edge and 3 for face select. If I go into insert faces tool, I click on a face and I just go down. So you can see a face in the center is created, and this face, the whole face has shrunken into 5 different faces. 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5th one. Now as I told you, if I want to create a building, I'll come over here, I'll insert this, for example this much. I'll go to the extrude region command and I'll zoom out a bit and I'll extend this much. So now that's giving a look of a building. If I want to create it much more narrower and longer, I'll again insert this a bit, I'll extrude, and there you go. Now you can keep repeating this until you're satisfied. As simple as that. Now the next command is the bevel. This is used to bevel edges or your face. So when you bevel, now you can either curve or smoothen. Now how to curve basically? So if you just bevel this, you stretch it up and now you bevel this. Now this is smooth but flat. How to curve this? As simple as a piece of cake. Just go here, bevel. Now you can see this offset thing. Now just remember, before deselecting, after just beveling, just go to this area or this will vanish. So just go to offset and you can click or drag or either put a number or use this arrows to increase. So now if you do this, you can just decide how much you want to bevel, and if you want to curve this, you can see the segments command. You can just click and drag and this will curve it like that. As simple as that. Next is the loop cut tool. This is a tool which can be used to cut the object, which creates different edges. Now for example, if I just loop cut over here, an edge will be formed dividing the cube into two halves. Now if I just do one more edge will be formed. Like this, you can create many cuts. Same with the knife, just that you can go randomly. You can cut randomly, and instead of cutting through the whole thing, just one face will be cut. Now when you have drawn one line, for example, with the knife cut tool, just right click to go out of this area, or just click and when you have clicked this, when you have drawn a cut, simply press enter and a cut will be formed. So these are the basic tools of Blender which will be used. Now after learning these simple tools, you can create a building, for example, as I told you. So if I go to insert face, I insert the face. I go to extrude, I extrude it. I go to insert, I insert it. I go to extrude, I extrude it. Now this kind of gives a feel of a building, but what if I want to smoothen this out? As simple, I told you, the bevel command. Stretch it out, and there you go. You have a building ready in just less than a minute. That's how you do modeling. But it is not always gonna be this easy modeling in Blender. So at last, we'll be learning to create a 3D model of a car, which will be fantastic learning for you. So hope you enjoyed this first video of the series. I'll be uploading more videos till then. Bye bye.